it's me, Hannah Payne, now. Oh, and right now, I'm not in the living room today because Daniel is frantically and is doing something right now in the area. But now will be a good time to read you the rest of this book of the Puppy Place book called Princess. Just done with the third chapter of this book. And now, onward to the fourth chapter. Chapter 4, Feeding, Part 1. Princess eats one food and one food only. Marvelous morsels. The beef bacon bonanza flavor in the pink can is the only one she likes. Don't even try to give her the creamy chicken carnival yellow can or the luscious lamb green can flavors. She will not eat them. Well, that's just ridiculous, Mom said. For one thing, 3 cans of marvelous morsels cost more than a steak. Our puppies have never eaten that fancy stuff, Lizzie agreed. I don't even think it's good for them. Still, Charles said, Angel left us a few cans, so we might as well use them up. He didn't know what the big deal was. Sure, it would be easier if Princess just ate Baxter's beefy chunks, which Buddy seemed to like just fine. But they had promised to take care of Princess the way Angela wanted them. Or at least Charles had promised. He wasn't sure Angela would have left Princess with them if he hadn't, and he really wanted to foster Princess. The tiny puppy was sitting on his lap right now. While the Petersons gathered in the living room, Aunt Amanda had gone home while the rest of them were looking over Angela's list. You'll get your marvelous morsels, Charles told Princess. He stroked her silky ears. Don't worry. Princess did not seem the least bit worried. She just sat there, accepting Charles's pat whenever he stopped for even a second. She looked up at him with expectant eyes. With expanded eyes, lifting one tiny paw and tapping Charles's arm until Charles started patting her again. Once, when he was saying something to his mom and didn't pay attention to her paw, she gave 3 short, sharp barks. Hey, you! More patting! Less chatting! Did you forget about me? Here on your lap? Oops, sorry, said Charles. He resumed his patting. Angela had probably patted Princess every time she barked, and now the puppy expected that. It was just like Aunt Amanda had said. It wasn't Princess's fault that she was spoiled. Maybe since she was so young, she could learn to be unspoiled. Not that Charles knew how to teach her. Charles gazed down at Princess. He could not get over how little she was. Tiny nose, tiny ears, tiny, tiny paws. How could any dog be so small? She was smaller than Huey, his class guinea pig, and she hardly weighed a thing. If he closed his eyes, he would barely know she was in his lap. But Princess had big personality. Big personality. I don't know how she does it, Lizzie said, shaking her head as she looked at Princess. She's no bigger than a rat, but it's obvious that she thinks she's better than anyone else. Like she's doing us a favor by letting us be in the same room with her. Rat? Asked the bean, who was sitting on the floor with Buddy sprawled across his lap. He stared at Princess too. Princess, not a rat. Princess is a uppy. Lizzie didn't mean that Princess is a rat. Dad told the bean. Princess is definitely a puppy. He made a face, sort of. He added under his breath, like Lizzie. Dad was not a big fan of little dogs. He always said that they were kind of like dogs, but not really good for anything. Well, said Mom, who had been reading more of Angela's list. It's dinner time for people and puppies. I'm going to start your supper. And Charles, if you're going to feed Princess, you better get started too. It's going to take a while to do it the way Angela spells it out on the list. What do you mean? Charles asked. Mom didn't answer. She just handed Charles the stack of papers. He groaned. There was no way he had time to read through the whole list right now. He better stick to the parts about food. Feeding. Part 2. Use the pink dishes. The one with flowers. Use the pink dishes. The ones with flowers, on them are for breakfast. The ones with bunnies are for dinner. Dishes must be washed and dried between meals. Perhaps put exactly 3 tablespoons of Marvelous Morsels Beef Bacon Bonanza pink can into the dish. If it has to come out right out of the fridge, be sure to microwave on medium for 7 seconds. Mash the food with the back of a fork until there are no lumps, not even a small one. Princess does not like lumps. Put the food dish down on its matching pink placemat. Flowers for breakfast, bunnies for dinner. Make sure that you have put up Princess's favorite picture, the one of the pink teddy bear, near her eating spot, so she can look at it. So she can look at it while she eats. Fill the water dish with 1/2 bottle of crystal fresh spring water. Do not use any brand or Princess will not drink it. I call Princess to eat. I usually say, Princess, or Princess, time for Breggy! Charles let the list fall to the floor. Okay, he said to Princess, I'll mash you food. I'll put up your teddy bear picture. I'll pour your spoon water. But I am not going to baby talk. But I am not going to talk baby talk to you. Princess just gazed back up at him with her tiny black eyes like two shiny buttons. She tilted her head and gave him a puzzled look. Blah, blah, blah. I don't understand what you're saying, but I do know I'm still waiting for my dinner. What's taking so long? Suddenly, Charles had a feeling that he just might be talking Suddenly, Charles had a feeling that he just might be talking baby talk before too long. Charles was very careful with Princess's dinner. It took 10 times longer than pouring out a bowl full of Baxter's beefy chunks for Buddy, which he also did, and he was a little nervous about whether or not he was doing everything correctly. But when he called, Princess, dinner time, she came scampering right in. Her tiny twinkle toes, just a blur of motion. Princess went right to her bowl on the pink placemat with the pink teddy bear picture taped up on the cupboard above it. And began to eat. She did not seem to notice that he had skipped the baby talk. Maybe Princess wasn't quite so fussy after all. Delicious! Not a single lump! Just how I like it. Charles watched fascinated as Princess nibbled daintily on her food and lapped up droplets of water with her tiny pink tongue. It was kind of true what Dad and Lizzie said. A dog this tiny was like a dog, but so different from what Charles was used to. Compared to Princess, Buddy looked like a jolly giant, chomping away at his beefy chunks and then slipping splashingly at his dented metal water bowl, while his collar tags clanked against the side. After the puppies had eaten, the Pearson family had their own dinner. Afterwards, Charles played with Buddy and Princess in the living room, tossing a right old sock monkey for Buddy. It was his favorite toy these days, and a miniature pink tennis ball for Princess. Playtime. Part 1. Princess will play with A. Her pink tennis ball. B. The pink butterfly tug toy. Both puppies had a great time tearing after their toys and prancing back to Charles with their tails held pridefully high and their prizes clutched in their jaws. Mom came down after putting the bean to bed and told Charles it was almost his bedtime too. And you better read this section, she said. to Charles, pointing to a spot on the list. He looked down at the page and sighed. Bedtime, Part 1. Princess sleeps in her palace with her Princess sleeps in her palace with her 3 favorite bedtime toys, her stuffed ladybug, her pink squirrel, and her squeaky saucer. I guess that's that for this chapter. Oh, that was a lot of reading. Well, what do you think will happen next? Find out more in the 5th chapter and see what's more to the list that Charles had to do. And I'll see you tomorrow.